The Canadian Open or Montreal series had the entire tennis world on the edge of their toes. With one player after the next showing us their skills, this season was all that we asked for and so much more. But today we're going to talk about one match that had us frozen in front of the screens. Yes, you guessed it right. The Kyrgios versus Medvedev was truly a blockbuster. Let's talk some more about it, starting with Kyrgios' win. On Wednesday at the National Bank Open, Nick Kyrgios defeated world number 1 Daniil Medvedev 6-7. 2, 6-4, 6-2, and this has to be the greatest victory of his hot streak. Kyrgios often used serve and volley to take advantage of the reigning champion's deep placement on return, and it worked out for him. At the ATP Masters 1000 tournament, he fought off 2 break points throughout the course of a 2-hour match. On the day, all 3 top seeds were eliminated in the second round, with Nick returning to defeat world number 1 Daniil Medvedev. After surprising Rafael Nadal at Wimbledon in 2014, Australia's Wimbledon finalist defeated Medvedev with sets of 6-7, 2-7, 6-4, and 6-2. Sounds like a clean sweep to us. The dominoes began to fall after Kyrgios' play. The unpredictable Aussie resorted to his usual antics on the court, such as whining about a high bounce, slamming a ball into the stands to get a warning, and arguing with his player box when things heated up. But after assembling his tremendous forces, the 27-year-old, rated 37th, defeated Medvedev in precisely 2 hours. So what did the players have to say? As we expected, both the players were pretty vocal about the match. When talking about his approach to matches, Nick said, "I don't go in looking at the rankings, just the player in front of me." He also added that his goal was simple on that day, to play more serve and volley and improve his execution. The Aussie said he hoped he could keep winning and keep the momentum going. Plus, it was pretty tough for Medvedev as he was having trouble finding his rhythm. But in the second game of the deciding set, he earned his first 2 breakpoint chances of the match. Still, Kyrgios' calculated moves held the world number 1 at bay, and the Australian's signature clean hitting helped him win 4 straight games from 2-2, on his way to a decisive triumph in which he won 67% of points at the net. Medvedev noted in his post-game news conference that for him, the major difference was that he missed some shots in certain critical times. The runner-up added that he didn't blow it by any means, but there were a few opportunities that, maybe in the latter rounds of a tournament, would have turned out differently had he taken them. The top seed later elaborated, saying his rival was really good. He'd gotten to a decent place. If we may put it this way, he beat him up pretty fair. Next up, some fan under backlash for hating at Daniil. After being dubbed a loser after his loss to Nick Kyrgios at the Canadian Open, Daniil Medvedev pledged to keep confronting those who mock him. A fan, if you could call him that, chanted loser as the world number 1 left the arena after losing in 3 sets against Kyrgios last week in Montreal. Medvedev circled, and the two got into a heated debate as the rest of the spectators went silent. As if that wasn't enough, the other guy stepped up his rhetoric and yelled something about mutual respect. But Medvedev didn't back down, and many others in the audience urged the offender to apologize. The 26-year-old has spoken out about the incident before his upcoming comeback at the Western and Southern Open in Cincinnati. He said that he lost against Kyrgios and was really upset about it, but if someone made fun of him, he'd fight back. He continued saying that he simply wouldn't ignore the insults and go on his way. "You go, King. Confront them." He said the guy's dad also said something to him, and the player replied, "Educate your child." Daniil refuses to put up with any bullying, and we absolutely love that. The Russian said how this was indeed one of the few occasions when anything like this had happened to him. The level of negativity and insults being hurled at each other on social media platforms is starting to get out of hand, and he wouldn't let it be that way on the court. Moving on, some drama is in store for Nick. So Nick Kyrgios is being sued by the lady he allegedly had removed from the audience box. Anna Palas is suing Kyrgios for slander, as reported by Sky News, after he allegedly asked the umpire to remove her from the court because she looks like she's had like 700 drinks. When receiving a code penalty for using profanity after a spectator yelled out before a second serve, Kyrgios complained about Palas's actions. The woman, though, claimed to have only had 2 beers before being taken from the court. She claims that Kyrgios' allegation has had a significant effect on her life ever since it occurred. Plus, here's what happened next. With the help of her lawyer, Brett Wilson, Anna released a statement saying that the Aussie made a reckless and totally baseless charge against her during the championship match. Adding to the immediate damage it caused by getting her temporarily removed from the court, Mr. Kyrgios' fraudulent charge was aired to and read by millions of people across the globe, causing her and her family causing tremendous damage and sorrow. According to Palas, she is not suing for financial compensation, but rather to clear her good name. She said the only grounds to take legal action are the necessity to gain vindication and to avoid a repeat of the charge. All monetary compensation received will be given to charity. Kyrgios is the subject of other pending legal proceedings, not only Palas's case. The 27-year-old was arrested in December for allegedly abusing his ex-girlfriend and was prosecuted in a court in Australia in July. Geez, with all that time spent in court, it looks like he'll hardly have any time to play on the court. Also, there's more Kick and Daniil performance in store. Yep, looks like there's more where that Blockbuster match came from. Section 1 of the US Open draw has a potential fourth-round matchup between Daniil Medvedev and Nick Kyrgios, while Rafael Nadal is expected to face either Cameron Norrie or Andrei Rublev in the early rounds. Highlighting Section 1 is reigning champion and world number 1 Medvedev, who will play world number 113 Stefan Kozlov in his first match. Later in the round, Medvedev is expected to meet Kyrgios, who defeated him in the second round of the Canadian Open just 2 weeks ago. Now that's going to be an interesting sight. And in other news, first off, Angelique Kerber's withdrawal. Former world number 1 and 3-time major winner Angelique Kerber has stated that she won't be playing in the US Open and will be taking an extended break from tennis. Her Instagram post announcing the news included many emojis, notably a baby bottle, which clearly suggested that she was expecting and was now on maternity leave. She announced that she'd be pausing her career as a professional tennis player for the greatest reason possible. Ana Ivanovic, a tennis legend, was among the first to express her happiness for her on social media, joining the chorus of her former and present tennis friends who have expressed their happiness. Kerber had said that the 2016 US Open has a special place in her heart since it was the tournament where she first became ranked as the world's best player. She continued by saying that she hoped to rejoin the WTA circuit as soon as she could. Also, Alexander Zverev won't be playing in US Open. Just recently, it was reported that Alexander Zverev would be skipping the event. Zverev has not played since he broke his ankle in the quarterfinals against Rafael Nadal at Roland Garros. He later had to undergo surgery for the injury. The athlete said on Instagram that he'd been examined in Germany and was told all 3 lateral ligaments in his right ankle were torn. Surgery was the best option for ensuring a speedy recovery and a safe return to competition. The athlete is now in rehab in hopes of a comeback soon. Finally, Djokovic won't be playing in the US Open. Yep, it looks like a week full of withdrawal news. To be honest, we kinda saw this one coming from a mile away. What else did he expect? He wasn't getting the vaccination, so obviously there'd be issues. Stacey Allister, director of the US Open, released a statement saying that Novak is a great champion and it's very unfortunate that he'll be unable to compete at the 2022 US Open, referencing Novak's inability to enter the country due to the federal government's vaccination policy for non-US citizens. The new draw, which will replace Djokovic with a lucky loser, will be made public later soon. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think will happen if Nick and Daniil face off in the US Open? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.